Okay, welcome back. We've all made it through a bunch of Ori matches today, and this is the final one of the day. The match we have here is Cerebeon and Cleanfel, who we might just call Clean for short and probably make really awful Clean-related puns. On commentary, my name is Grimelius, and I'm joined by Vooligen. Hi, Vula.
Hey, what's up?
So how are you? How are things?
I'm good. You know, I had dinner earlier. It's not really dinner. It's still afternoon. I had lunch earlier. I ate something. Food went in my mouth.
Me too, dude.
This is going poorly. We should do better than this.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna save us. Cerebeon has a 33-45 as his personal best. He's seed 39 out of our entire tournament. Here you can see the stats. He's playing on keyboard and mouse. Cerebeon, I think, has primarily run other categories before all skills. Is that right?
Yeah, in fact, he started with my personal favorite category, 0 XP, the one I invented, and then he routed better than me and played better than me, and he has a sub-hour time, which is absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, the skills from a category like that, even though it's so different, do actually transfer for pretty well, because it's still Ori in the Blind Forest. And that is what Baron has shown us, as he's already improved to a 33-45, which is his current PB.
That's right. And on the other side, we have Cleanfel, seed number 57, who has actually a 36-50 because, like many people in the tournament, people annoyingly improve and get better and better PBs and make our stats just very slightly out of date. Cleanfel is also playing on keyboard mouse, just like Cerebeon, and he has been on the volunteer side. He's improved his commentary over the course of this tournament, along with his Ori play. So there's our introduction to everyone. I'm pretty excited. It's been a good day of Ori so far.
Yeah, for sure. This match has the potential to be quite a good one. Baron and Cleanfel, of course, met up in the group stage. They were both in the same group, and their match against one another, Baron managed to get a 36 in that match, which I believe was his best race time, as you see there on the overlay. Clean, on the other hand, did not have quite the match that he was looking for. He had a 42 or something like that, so that was not really up to his standards. And he has since gone to work on this game, and you see that he's improved to a 36 there with his PB. So he's going to want to have a better performance, but let's not sugarcoat it. He's going to need it to really pull something seriously impressive out to be able to take out Baron tonight.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, you can see by the numbers that Cerebeon is favored to win, not only just because of the times, but because by Cleanfel's own admission, and was nice enough to give you and I some nice commentary information before we started. Cleanfel has not had a lot of time to practice Ori over the past 3 days or so, although he's been, practicing in general. So I wonder how that will affect his play, especially already being at a deficit. I hope the rust doesn't make things too rusty.
Well, I've thought a lot about this particular kind of thing as we are about to get to the action. You know, sometimes having that week off of just saying, I'm just not even playing the game, or, whatever length of time, more than a couple days of just literally not touching the game, sometimes that really helps. Other times, it really doesn't help. It can depend on the runner, but also sometimes it can just depend on the phase of the moon, or, the tides or something like that. So we'll see how it works out for Cleanfel.
It's a human element, if you will.
You won't. No, you won't. Not that.
Good joke, Grim. Okay, we're starting the run. We're gonna do some running. We're gonna do some jumping. We're gonna do some opposite jumping, i.e. falling through platforms. There's some purple water, purple things in this game that are generally bad. I think that's a rule that's sort of generally true.
Grim, I gotta ask, why does anyone let us commentate together?
It's a good... Well, Meldon was supposed to be here, and then they said, you know what, we want someone who's worse. Who do we have? And so then I replaced him, and here we are.
I suppose that's true. We're approaching Spirit Flame already. Baron maybe a fraction of a second behind. I couldn't tell if that was just a difference of sync, or if maybe, Cleanfel is trying to write something. He wrote out the word clean for us on his screen. That's lovely. He has, in fact, I believe in his questionnaire for the tournament, he said that was something cute that he likes to do when he gets to the various skill trees. So there, I managed to catch that one finally. The entire tournament, I haven't seen it so far. But this Frankie fight going well for both runners, and no time difference there. They both start about half a second ahead for Clean, and they finish about half a second ahead for Clean.
all you can really hope for in the early game is just sort of, get through it cleanly. Try not to bonk on too many things. Hope that you don't get an unfortunate health or energy drop at an incorrect time. Ordinarily, getting health in a run is probably a good thing, but like right there, Cleanfel got a little bit trolled due to his own mistake a little bit, but also then got trolled after that. Given that there's an intentional death coming up shortly, health management is important for the first little section here.
Yeah, it looks like Cleanfel, or it looks like Baron gets a whole bunch of health drops from that Bramble Wall, so he is full on health now. Takes 1 damage boost from the slime coming down the log, and will take 1 more on the next slime in the other log. Also gets trolled by an energy drop. Clean, instead, looks like he is going to also be able to take that damage boost, but I'm not sure if he got back to full HP. So Baron taking the 1 HP dip, and Clean is getting a 2 HP. But fortunately, because of a little bit of just a slight difference in how fast he got down to the water, the fish was there to help him out.
Thank you, Fish Bro. It's funny, all the little subtleties of how the enemies move. Like, even damage boosting through that slime earlier takes some practice. You can sort of get knocked left or right. Like, getting down through this elbow is more difficult than it looks. And the strategies that we as runners use to get through that little elbow have changed over time. There's more little optimizations and more thought that goes into this early game than you might expect just watching it.
And it's particularly interesting for me to watch Baron do this early game because he comes from the 0 XP category where the early game you are dodging all these XP orbs and you're like intentionally trying to damage boost things so you don't have to kill them so that there's no XP orbs in your way. So he's pretty experienced in that, has lots of knowledge of those types of strats. In this case, however, he does manage to collect XP, which in other categories is bad, but this one allows him to get the level up on the way down, and so does Clean. So he's just about 3 or 4 seconds behind maybe coming into wall jump.
That's right. A good start by both runners. Nice for Cerebeon, as always, to have a bit of an early lead. I mean, all else equal, what the heck? It's nice to be in first place. But for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much Tade at this point. You're welcome, Sarah.
Well, we'll be leaving the wall jump area. Baron will be hopping along, trying to make sure that he doesn't run down those slow slopes, or his horizontal speed just getting slightly reduced when going down or up slopes because of the way mathematics works. And he is moving very cleanly through this area, while on the right side, Cleanfel is, I can't really think of a way to use Baron's name to...
SMH.
Come on. It's at least as bad as your jokes.
That's fair. I'm in no position to judge. Yeah, getting out of this elbow. Okay, looks like both Clean and Cerebeon got through it just fine. Getting out of that elbow is sort of its own special kind of obstacle you have to get past, along with just getting down through it. No real mistakes on either side. I'm really enjoying this is going to happen over and over. The cleanliness of the movement, the smoothness of the movement on both sides. Clean is in second place, mostly just because of tiny little flubs here and there, like he got the sort of missed jump earlier, rather than due to any real errors that he has to address.
That's right. A slight hiccup on the left side, so don't worry too much about that, just an internet issue, but we'll get that resolved. Cleanfel, meanwhile, is going to be performing his Save Anywhere here. Gonna skip this cutscene at the Blackroot Burrow's entrance and get into the dark and spooky section of the speedrun.
As much as we meme about this area, Vula, it is legitimately, for me, one of the scariest areas, not only because it's just, like you said, dark and spooky and sort of difficult in its own right, but because I frankly find it a little bit less fun, so I actually practice it less often. I wonder how much that's the case with others. I
would not be surprised if that were very common. A lot of runners kind of don't really like to practice the early game, and that includes both of these first 2 sections, both the Glades area and also BRB, because it's kind of repetitive, and you already do it a lot in runs anyway, and you said a whole bunch. Oh, Cleanfel having the orb drop inconveniently on him. We do have picture back on Baron's side. There might be a slight desync, though, judging by how far along Baron was, but that's all right.
Yeah, even if Baron were to have died, he wouldn't be where he is, so I assume that's a visual hiccup over the internet rather than Baron actually being that far behind. So you could probably assume that they're still probably pretty close. It's always possible that Baron took a death on the spikes on the left side, which is, as far as deaths in Blackroot Burrows goes, it's one of the easier ones to take if it occurs.
That's right. Clean opting to be a little bit safe there, waiting on that last laser, and then he goes for a cycle reload here, so he shouldn't miss this platform cycle. But that does just mean that he'll lose about 2 seconds overall. We're actually told that Baron is synced up currently. That is to say, he's just as far along on his timer as Cleanfel is, which means that he must have lost some time dealing with his tech issue, which apparently was an OBS crash. So that's a little bit unfortunate for him. Just a weird tech thing just coming into play and upsetting his speedrun.
That's really unfortunate. If you're going to lose time in a speedrun, it sucks. But it's one thing if you lose it due to actually playing the speedrun. It's something else entirely if you lose it due to issues beyond your control. That's got to be frustrating for him.
Yeah, and he missed a jump off that jump pad just there getting to the next platform, but it didn't matter because he had to wait on the cycle anyway. But Clean's just ahead by 1 room right here, probably about 30 seconds or maybe a little bit more, and he's going to be starting his Darkness cutscene skip momentarily as Baron will be chasing him into that room. But there's a lot of room left. Tons and tons of runway for Baron to take off and show that superior play that has him with the 3-minute faster PB.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. And therefore, I have no more words left. Take it away, Vula.
I've done it. I've finally taken away all of Grim's words. As
Savor your victory.
Cleanfel comes into dash, Grim can't talk about this because I've already spent all of his words. I can't carry this joke any further ahead. He has dash.
That's okay.
Let's go.
There was an attempt. It's a subreddit actually. It's funny. Anyway, Clean has dash. He's gonna just zip his way out. Thankfully, did not fall down. It's something you don't commonly see, but it can happen. So Clean, given that unfortunate OBS crash from Cerebeon, is going to be the first to approach his Frankie walk. But as always with this trick, remember that if Clean has any issues either killing himself or the Frankie hero or in the Death Gauntlets, that could immediately send Clean super far back. So this is one area of the run where you can see an instantaneous lead change if things go amiss.
Yeah, and again, just these first like 10 minutes of the speedrun are incredibly tense because your margin for error is almost non-existent. Any error in Glades or Blackroot Burrows has a decent chance of just killing you and costing you over a minute. And any error here on the Frankie walk, effectively your run's over. That's a huge, huge time loss. So Cleanfel kiting the Frankie really well, gets the kill up here on top of the wall, so he's into the Death Gauntlet. And now another scary part, obviously, is he needs to swim in this poison water, get under this Frankie without getting crushed, avoid getting crushed by that block as well, and he will not do any crazy dash glide shenanigans here, so he just needs to avoid getting crushed one more time, get over to this energy cell, and he should be able to drop a safety save right there, and he's good.
Yep, probably smart. Always better to just sort of get through rather than go for every single second that you can, if going for those extra seconds would cause you to take a death. So Clean is through the Death Gauntlets. We'll see how he goes for his Grotto Cycle. I'm not actually clear on whether he does go for it. I guess okay, looks like he's going to not go for it. That's okay. Let's pay attention to the left side, then flip your eyes to the other side of the screen and see if Cerebeon can get through this Death Gauntlet as well.
This is a very dicey section, but he gets incredibly cleanly up the wall, so cleanly that he was up the wall before the Frankie even jumped, so there was not even the slightest hint of danger, and he's able to get up as well. Cleanfel taking a death in the Crushers with the Keystone just before the Ghost Door here, so that's going to set him back to, fortunately, having missed the early Grotto Cycle, he had a save that he placed there, and now he is taking the Keystone while Baron is going to go for his early Grotto Cycle and does not quite get it. Would have been a nice opportunity to catch up, but not quite.
That's right. I will quickly point out that as you just saw, Clean took an intentional death for another Ghost Door. There's a number of them throughout the course of the run. So I'm not sure if Cleanfel's death was just a pure mistake on the spikes before, or whether he was trying to damage boost down and just went a little bit too far. Sort of lost control.
Yeah, that may have been what happened. I looked away briefly at that point and just looked over and saw the explosion of Ori parts.
Boy, that would be a change to the video game.
Well, I think we've all seen that, like, proof of concept animation where Ori gets impaled on the spikes.
It's pretty amusing. Anyway, so Clean has not only acquired double jump, but has made his way out. He's going to be heading towards Grotto Skip. Meanwhile, Baron got some very nice movement as well. Got very high up on the wall, almost to that left one, which is not as high as it's possible, to get, but it's still very, very solid. Clean did not get either first or second grotto skip. With every single miss here, Cerebeon is just clawing his way back, sort of knocking at the door louder and louder. If Clean doesn't get this right about now, Baron could take the lead right away.
That is right. They're neck and neck. Clean,
wow.
Getting it just in time to make it literally be tied. But Baron, you've seen that Clean movement up the wall, and Baron is managing to take a very slight lead, but Clean's menuing is slightly faster. So now it's going to be neck and neck for just a little bit. We're going to see how climbing up these walls is going to make a difference for the two runners.
I think Baron had very, very slightly cleaner movement. Cleanfel jumped off to the left, and Baron did not. Now Baron is in the lead by just 1 or 2 jumps. Got a nice cutscene skip on this little Gumo. There's supposed to be sort of a boulder thing there. It's fun. It's a cutscene. We're going to see several cutscenes play out of order, as always, as we traverse up out of Moon Grotto towards the first dungeon of the game. But yeah, good job at Baron to claw back a lead at this point in the race, especially given that issue out of his control earlier before Blackroot.
Yeah, that death from Clean definitely helping him out, but in addition, Baron just having very clean movement. You could, God, that word. And you can see it so clearly in that climb up the rockfall shaft before picking up the water vein. It's just little things about your movement up walls. It can be very challenging to pull off those wall jumps quickly and effectively and get up those walls fast. And Baron showing off, you know, just a slightly better grasp of that than Cleanfel.
I feel like I've seen some stray damage on both sides here. I don't know exactly what their health is at because I haven't kept track closely enough, but I'm kind of just hoping for the best. I guess Baron leveled up, so his health is refilled regardless. Clean had a safety save, and he'll be leveling up right here anyway, so never mind, health is a non-issue, but...
Well, I do think Baron did take 1 damage from that slime right after the level up triggered, so I think he may be at 3. That should be okay as long as he doesn't get bopped by one of these spinners. If he does, that's 2 damage. That would put him at 1 HP, and he won't be able to damage boost the slime above, so we'll see what ends up happening here as he nudges his way into this little nook.
That's right. Clean has to get around it as well. Based on the cycles here. Okay, yeah, good job. If you... Let me try that whole sentence again. It's kind of like any cycle in Ori. If you do your movement cleanly, the cycles tend to sort of behave in the right way, and your movement is exactly what you expect. If you have flubs, it can sort of compound on itself, and you not only lose time in the movement, but then you lose time in the cycle. So I think we're okay. Cleanfel definitely took some additional damage coming in here, though.
Yeah, there was 2 hits from that slime on the wall, so he would be at 2 HP, but then he dropped that save, so that puts him at 3 thanks to the regroup ability, which we picked up to do the blind movement back at double jump. Both of these runners coming in under their average Enter Ginso splits for the tournament so far.
Look at how close those averages are, though.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You know, Cleanfel clearly must be, the time that he's losing on that average must be more in the late game, which would not be surprising. Fall from Baron, just setting him back a few platforms in this gamer room, and Cleanfel is going to take advantage and catch up just that little bit.
I think I thought cursed them. To be honest, even though you were speaking, I was going to say something about if Baron takes any sort of slips and falls, then it'll allow him to catch up.
Ruining it.
Committed a thought crime, and I apologize sincerely, Baron. So Baron is doing some nice dash glides through these portals. Cleanfel is doing it exactly the same way. Thankfully, no damage. In this room, it can be pretty easy to touch the spikes unintentionally. This is still extremely close, though. Baron has been just making small mistakes that Clean has not been making. We have a bit of the reverse situation that we had before.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the story until some of those big tricks come back into play. When we get out of the Ginso tree and we go for swamp entry, that's the kind of place where we're going to see, you know, possibly a major shift as opposed to just these little differences where Cerebeon enters the mini boss up maybe 2 seconds ahead of Cleanfel, and Cleanfel getting a crappy spawn from this mini boss all the way in the bottom right corner, and he couldn't detect it. But Baron too is getting trolled by that, and then just little things. They're at the same HP level, so they might very well be tied after this.
This is incredibly close. I think, Baron's going to kill the boss first, but not by much. I think Clean is going to be able to kill it maybe on this cycle. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah.
So we are 1 mini boss cycle apart. That damage from Cleanfel was intentional to set up another intentional ghost or death coming up very, very shortly. I'm not sure what else to say. This is just very, very close. We have a lot of run left. So even though it's tied right now, I mean, there's a lot more room for, well, mistakes. There's a lot more room for mistakes to let the other person catch up. Certainly both runners have to stay on top of their game in order to have a chance at winning this thing out.
Yeah, and a situation like this can be very tense if you're the, lower PB runner in this type of situation, as Baron comes into Bash, saving a couple seconds there on those previous few rooms. And that's exactly, where it might be pretty tense for a runner like Clean, whose PB is about 3 minutes behind Baron. You got to say to yourself, if we're tied, I'm really worried that my opponent's base higher level of skill is going to allow him to just save time constantly over me through the rest of the run. I really need him to mess up more. Whereas Baron, of course, can be confident that he can draw on that skill level.
Well, and this is where I'll mention, if you remember from our stat screen before the race, we had that little graph thing in the bottom left where we have the sort of 2 circles talking about the players mid-game, early game, late game, whatever it might be. I don't remember the specific values or anything from our 2 runners, but that's why we keep track of that information, so that we as commentators and viewers can have a better idea of, okay, we're tied right now, what might we expect to happen as we move, say, from mid-game to late game or something like that.
Well, Baron was able to get a clean key dupe. Clean was a little bit high on HP, but did manage to take a second hit to take the death, but that might have even cost him another small amount of time, maybe 1 second or maybe 2 seconds. I keep wanting to say a handful, but really 2 is not a handful, is that? Maybe a handful of frames? A very big handful of frames.
I think we could have a long debate over what some of those terms mean. Handful, few, several, couple. The debate will rage forever. 1. That one's really up for debate. I think 1 is
It's a very relevant term.
It is. Anyway, so this boss dies in a few hits. there it goes. Or several hits if you prefer. It dies in N hits, and so Cerebeon killed it in N hits. Cleanfel also killed it. Cerebeon on the left still with the lead as he comes into his swamp entry. We're sounding like a bit of a broken record, but unless Cerebeon gets this first try, Clean could just immediately bring back the victory, and this is one of the hardest tricks in the run.
Dang, already pronouncing it victory, Grim? Chill, dude.
Do I keep saying victory?
You did this time.
Oh my god. Just ban me, I don't deserve it.
Alright, fair enough, you're banned.
GDI. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Swamp entry.
Blind movement from Baron, and he is into swamp entry, and his success rate in the tournament so far is, as we see on the overlay, perfect. So, will he pull off yet another flawless first try swamp entry? He gets the frog pushed into the nook, where he will pick up the ability cell, so this is more— oh no! That is a kill on the frog, and just like that, Cleanfel is ahead. If he is able to pull the trick off, Baron is right behind, not very far back.
I'm a little bit confused of what happened there. There shouldn't have been any reason that Baron was pressing his attack button. Maybe just a brain fart or something like that. Hard to say.
Yeah, it can be very easy to just accidentally press that button, but Cleanfel is in immediately, first try. Baron just having a little bit of trouble, but he does get it now. So there it is, Cleanfel with the lead again by just a few seconds. And he throws down the save in front of that door, not going to save and reload and hope to get a hyperspeed out of it. But Baron, on the other hand, is just skipping it as well, so he'll be right behind. Wow.
Apparently this is the day of close races, dude. In this race, we've already had several lead changes, and we still have all of the path to the left side of the map, all of Sorrow, and all of Misty, where things can get pretty wild if, well, they just can get pretty wild because it's Ori and it's a hard section. They're all hard sections.
That is very, very true. You see that note about Cleanfel's previous best stomp time in the tournament. He improved that just now by about 15 seconds. And I would expect to see more of that as Cleanfel is much improved since the group stage. He opts to go for rekindling that save there. Part of the thing about being this close ahead or behind your opponent is that sometimes you can't necessarily afford to do those little things. Other times, though, you kind of have to, because, like, what if you don't? Are you going to take a death here? Then what happens? But now they're basically tied already. What just happened?
I don't think anything happened. I think Baron just maybe played a little bit better. Even there, Baron got to this.
Oh, no, and Cleanfel didn't. Oh.
That frog doesn't have enough health. He's going to have to redo it. Yep. Okay, thankfully it looks like Cleanfel knows the backups. Rather than reloading to get the frog, he's just going to bring these things across. Although they have a nasty tendency to despawn. To quickly draw attention left, Baron is taking his cutscene skip and did not get it and is not reloading. So that's going to cost him some time.
Yeah, and he had that 83.3% success rate, but that is going to go down just a little bit. So not able to pull that trick off. Clean has an opportunity now to make up some of that time he lost on that frog. He ended up waiting a lot of time. There are some options that you can do there using double bashes or other sorts of things, but I mean, sometimes it's really just do a thing that works and do it quickly. Now Clean going for the buffered bash, and he gets through, so that saves 17 seconds over Cerebeon immediately, and he is right back into it.
Okay, well, I was about to say Baron went out of his way at the coast here to get this health cell, and Clean is doing the exact same thing. So definitely with that current cutscene skip, Clean just gained back a lot of time. Thankfully, Baron was able to make it out of this little zone, this little alcove where we have the 5th health cell, because all these spikes, as we've mentioned, every single race are all insta-kill no matter how much health you have. Looks like both of them made it out okay. Clean just took a slightly safer strat, which is a little bit slower, but the important thing is that he is out. So to recap, Baron on the left is still in the lead, but not by very much, and we still have some of the harder sections of the run left to go.
Yep, and Baron basically tracking with his average times in the tournament so far. So very good play by both runners. Clean, as we mentioned, is going to improve yet another of his best times in the tournament with a 22-13 charge flame, improving about 20 seconds compared to his best before. But Baron has already made it to the Spirit Tree cutscene skip, and he ended up being on the Spirit Well itself and having to walk through part of the slow zone on his reload. We'll see whether Cleanfel is able to get the dash glide here. He did get a dash glide, but I think he landed on top of the thing too, and he is going to get the same slow zone. So not quite able to save a couple of seconds there, but you know, again, with this deficit, you're really going to be looking for some of those big tricks as an opportunity to save that time.
Well, what we're doing here now is heading over to an area that, as we've mentioned in a handful of races, we generally call the left side of the map. It's not the halfway point of the run in terms of the overall time, because both of these guys will probably get sub 40 times and we're already past 20 minutes, but it's sort of conceptually a halfway point. We already have a bunch of the skills. We go past the Spirit Tree cutscene. This is sort of more... I don't know, we do a bunch of things out of order. We do Frankie Walk, we do a bunch of stuff, and now we're left side, going towards more skills. Baron is quickly coming up on his fast stop list. Let's see how he does. Also made a safety save.
Yeah, and he has a pretty low success rate in this tournament, but I'm always impressed because even at the beginning of this tournament, he didn't even go for this trick. That shot is so high, it hits the ceiling, unfortunately. He's going to have to take more shots. Clean is catching up right now. That shot looks potentially good. It's really hard to tell exactly whether it's good or not, but it looked like it had a chance. Here he goes for the cell. It was good. Wow. So he gets the trick, and Cleanfel now is going to also need to get it to catch up. He's having a little trouble with that spider, but he's not going to take a death, which is the important part. Oh, well, this one's intentional.
Yeah, that one is okay. So Baron definitely has some troubles. If Clean can get this quickly, yeah, that shot, he wasn't happy with it. So one benefit of that save is you can just sort of take as many shots as you want. That one looks a little bit better. Clean still has to get out of the way fast enough to not get a sad Celis, though. So while Clean is doing that, Baron took a quick pit stop on the save, and he'll be heading into Cerebeon soon, and Clean got the fast stompless shot. So they both got it. No catastrophic sad Celis scenarios today.
Yep. Baron, you're seeing his success rate at Cerebeon coming up on the screen. It's 45% on his attempts. This is a really difficult trick that involves a lot of bird position manipulation. He grabs 2 birds here to make use of them. That is a very low bird position, but he's actually going to adjust it by grabbing the bird for some bashes, push him up into the spot there, and then charge dash at him to get in. Cleanfel will be trying to follow suit as much as possible, but Baron is not making the mistakes that he really needs to catch up. So he's going to have to start, you know, kind of clutching his Ori and the Blind Forest 2018 all skills, no out of bounds, no teleport anywhere, commemorative coin, and hoping for Baron to have some issues.
Nice job saying all of that, Boulagen. Baron is getting through these insta-kill spikes. I'm not going to call them by a meme name because we are a professional community of professionals. Got through it without dying. Cleanfel has to get a very, very fast Cerebeon as well. Baron got through his using a very clever adaptation and smart calmness and awareness to not die. Let's see if Clean can sort of follow suit. Clean definitely has some catching up to do. Yeah,
this deficit can potentially be considered up to a minute at this point. That bird is super low, but he manages to get it in there.
Oh,
and then unfortunately bonks it off the ceiling and takes a death there. Baron with a really nice bash glide, holy crap, through the spikes there, which we will definitely not refer to by a mean name like Spike Cave. And Cleanfel does take that intentional damage off the spikes there, but then doesn't get the charge dash up to the bird. So unfortunately taking another death there, and so Baron is just heading on up, trucking along all the way to the Sunstone.
Everybody give your energy to Cleanfel. Remember that having 5 health at the first place, one of the primary benefits of doing so is in this Sorrow pass area, because all these spikes do 4 damage. Remember that every runner gets 5 health at least by the end of the run. Many runners decide not to get the one in the coves. Unfortunately, it's not quite enough for Clean yet, because the birds don't have the same benefit of surviving a hit that Ori does. This is difficult to see from Cleanfel, although it is also one of the most difficult tricks in the run.
Yeah, and Cleanfel has also told us before this race that this was definitely the trick he was most concerned about. He considers it the hardest trick in the game, and also his least favorite trick. And well, it's not doing any real, wonders to change his mind right now. He's probably thinking, this trick sucks, I really hate it, I would just like to move on with it in my life. And finally he gets the opportunity to do so with a quick high five as Baron is heading out of Sorrow into Misty with the Sunstone.
I do want to quickly reiterate that Baron's PB is pretty significantly faster than Cleanfel. And so even though, of course, we commentate because we want to see a nice close race, we talk about Cleanfel catching up, Cleanfel was already at a disadvantage going into this race due to his PB and the fact that he hasn't had a ton of time to practice. So Cleanfel is by no means out of this race yet, but I want to just make sure that we don't sort of set expectations too high. If Baron ends up pulling away with the victory out of this thing, it's not like that was something for Cleanfel to walk away ashamed of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's kind of the thing about races of speedrunning, like just normal categories, like non-randomizer type stuff, is that there's kind of a built-in skill level based on how much you grinded the game and to what extent you've what like PB level you've achieved. And Baron's PB level being 3 minutes greater than Clean's, that kind of shows you commensurately how much more time he spent on the game. And there's absolutely no shame in losing to an opponent whose PB is 3 minutes greater than yours. In fact, it's kind of hard not to have that happen. But that said, there's a reason why we play the races, and even then, sometimes, a player like Wilson, for example, can lose to Oshi. But we'll see. Hopefully, you never really hope for something like that to happen, unless you're Cleanfel, you're probably hoping for some real bad stuff to happen to Baron right now.
Well, Misty Woods is an area where some bad things certainly can happen. I do like the call from Baron to make a nice safety save. Baron, just to sort of recap while we were talking, picked up his climb skill, which is skill number 10 out of 11. Misty Woods as an area is an area that is less dangerous in terms of some of its obstacles. For example, the spikes only deal 3 damage rather than 4, but it's more dangerous because there are more enemies and more insta-kill lasers. So really, it's sort of equally as dangerous. You also, I think, tend to go for longer periods of time without any safety saves, with more involved movement than just going straight up and down a vertical shaft. So far, Baron is doing this very, very cleanly, and he's going to be approaching his mini-bosses before too long. I would also probably expect to see another safety save. We'll see. Yep, there it is.
Yes. Clean dropping one on the entrance of Misty. He did also, as you were talking about vertical shafts, he did pass through the vertical spike shaft on the way out of Sorrow and took some damage in there, which was kind of funny. But, oh, wow, some fun times in the meatball column for Baron, meanwhile. But he does manage to survive, and he is getting up to that mini-boss you mentioned. Let's see what sort of quick kill or other type of kill we might see from him. Looks like a more traditional, just one at a time, do a bunch of damage, and then stomp, finish him off. Pretty clean.
Well done by Baron. I'll also point out that both runners are watching each other. So Baron knows that he's in the lead, knows that he does not need to go for every single second. He just has to continue playing cleanly, and he'll pretty much have this thing in the bag. And making safety saves is a very good way to increase your chances of not having a catastrophic mistake that ends up losing the game.
Yeah, meanwhile, Cleanfel, he might not be taking too deep of a look at the restream. He probably knows after Sorrow Pass, bad things happen. He's in a rough position. He might have taken a glance, and then at this point, if you're behind like that, you're probably just going to look away and be like, okay, whatever, I just have to play. So that's most likely what's happening, but he also might just be staring at it and, oh no. Taking a death by dashing into that frog, unfortunately, and he had not been able to safety save since the entrance of Misty, so that is a very costly death and very likely going to put an end to any real hopes that he was within range of a mistake.
That's right. Both of our runners are currently sitting at 5 health, which is more than you can have in the run at this point, but it's still not a lot, and it's certainly quite a bit less than most runners would probably have in a casual playthrough. 5 health is enough to survive many things, like 1 or 2 hits from many obstacles and enemies, but not much more than that. So as we said, it is still a very dangerous area. Clean is going to make his way through for the second time, did touch the spikes, taking 3 damage. Meanwhile, Cerebeon has made it past some insta-kill lasers. He's going to do a save anywhere. I'm going to, interrupt myself. You saw the same thing that I did, Vula.
Yep, quick death from Cleanfel, and by quick, I mean that it was rather abrupt and sudden because there was just suddenly a piece of crap left by the slime there right in front of his path, and he walked into it, and that's 1 damage and a death. The slime trying to heck him up again, but this time he has a little more health. He had placed a deeper safety save, but unfortunately, still a pretty unfortunate time loss. I'm going to say the word unfortunate another couple times, as Baron is, fortunately for him, heading out of grenade now.
Yeah, pretty fortunate movement by Baron. He's going to go down and hopefully not have an unfortunate situation where he goes into the lasers. I'm just going to stop that right there.
Yeah, we're basically powered at this point almost entirely by memes, huh?
That's true.
All right, Baron is doing the little Raziel No boulder section. I far prefer to call it that than any other name because it refers to one of our community members who had a good old time with that boulder in the previous tournament. This time we see more people going the bottom route actually and outrunning the boulder, which is different from before. So that's always a funny thing to compare between this tournament and the last one. Cleanfel has picked up climb and will be traversing the back half of Misty here, as we usually refer to it. But Baron is well on his way to Mount Horu, having a little bit of a weird time with not quite getting the rocket jump on that front there.
That's right. Pretty fair to say that a PB is probably out of reach from both sides, but Baron is going to have to make some pretty catastrophic mistakes in order to lose this. He really only has, apart from the entire final escape itself, which at 6 health is not as rough as it could be, it's really only the 2 frame perfect tricks that are going to pose a challenge. First being the warp and the second being the final grenade jump. So right now, if we glance over to the left side of the screen, we're going to see Baron go into this final dungeon, the Mount Horu. The game will autosave in a moment, and then I guess we can, if we want to, Villa, we can make some predictions about this.
I would rather not. I'll take the opportunity to do this instead. This trick is incredibly easy if you want to do casually, as Baron is going to take his first attempt. But look at that. 100% success rate for Baron in the tournament so far. No misses. So this trick is really easy. If you've only played this game casually and you just want to mess around, like try out a glitch, this is a great one. Just get to the door to Mount Horu for the first time, enter. It will automatically save the game for you right inside the door. And just exit the game, reload the file, and spam the up button. And if you happen to get it on the right frame, voila, you're at the bottom of Mount Horu. Done. Skip the whole dungeon. Easy.
That's right. Congratulations. You are now an honorary speedrunner. Anyway, to check in with Baron, he has started his culmination sequence, getting through the final escape. As always, he has to progress through without taking any damage in order to survive. He needs to swim through the poison water, which will be easier for him since he has 6 health. Then he has to do a charge jump to despawn Curl. Well, he doesn't technically have to, but you don't really technically have to do anything. He's going to do it because it's faster and it allows you to take as many attempts at the grenade jump as you need.
That's right. He'll position himself in a specific spot on this wall. He's going to make sure that he is good to avoid a soft lock. He needs to aim up here and then press 2 inputs on consecutive frames. That is actually his first time missing grenade jump in the tournament. He had hit all the other inputs every other time, but that's all right. He's got quite a lot of time buffer available here. You need to press grenade on 1 frame and jump on the next frame, and if you get tired of attempting it like Baron just did, you can just continue to the end normally, and it only costs you about 40 seconds, which he clearly has enough time to spare for that.
Well, with Baron holding right, I can now actually properly say that Cerebeon has taken the victory in this race, as opposed to earlier when he just had the lead. So GG to Baron. His time will not be called yet. He just has to hold right for a little while. And in the meantime, we can pay attention to Cleanfel, who has made it out of Misty Woods all the way back into the lower Blackroot Burrow area. He's going to open up another save anywhere and try to do a dash glide. Yep, well done. Over that cutscene trigger in order to skip. Is that the lengthiest cutscene in the entire game? Or just in the run?
I think this one and Sunstone are basically the same length. I'm not sure about the entire game because there's so many cutscenes.
Yeah, well, it's a long one, and long cutscenes lose time, and we don't want to watch them, so we don't.
Well, we do have an answer from the truck. Our stats folks telling us that the longest cutscene in the game is actually the one at the bottom of Lost Grove, where you find out about the tragic circumstances of the passing of the old-fashioned father.
It's so tragic that we just skip it every time.
Well, in this, we don't even go near it in this category. All right, Baron coming to the end. He wraps up with a final time of 36.08. GG to him. Congratulations on advancing to the next round of the lower bracket. Unfortunately, as Clean finishes up here with his run, he will be eliminated from the tournament, but he was able to put on a very good show in his races so far and able to take one victory in the lower bracket to at least say, you know, hey, I came to play and I put on a good show and improved my PB by a lot, and I did manage to take a victory here.
That's right. I'll also just point out that that final time of 36.08 is still faster than Cleanfel's PB. And the reason I bring that up is, as we mentioned earlier, it was always going to be very, very difficult for Cleanfel to beat Cerebeon. He would have pretty much definitely had to PB, which was just hard for anyone to do.
Yeah, that's
in a race like this.
He is coming to the Mount Horror door, and he will be able to wrap up in style with some grenade jumps. I believe he said he's planning to do a couple. I think he was actually planning to do these regardless of his position. So there you go. There's a nice one right up to the Mount Horror door. Oh my goodness. A few little frantic mouse movements there. Kind of an oops. Didn't mean to go that far. But now we'll be seeing some door warp from him, and I'm going to predict that he is going to perform door warp.
I just don't know about that. I just don't know about that. But I'll agree. It's possible that he'll perform the trick. He did it first try.
I love it. I love that death after the door warp because it's so not time consuming. It's just dumb. You feel dumb.
It is indeed. Well, what it is, like, more seriously, is right when you come out of that door, the game will often sort of miss your inputs for like just a split second. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, no, it puts you in midair actually, and then also the inputs are kind of awkward. So yeah, in my first tournament race, I took a bath in lava, so it was good times.
That's right. So Clean is going to progress through this escape sequence just like Cerebeon did. He has 6 health, just like Cerebeon did. We're going to see a lot of parallels in this race. I'd say even though we're going to have a pretty large delta in their final times, these two were very comparable runners, and I think that Clean can come out of this minus some mistakes. I don't think his play was like particularly sloppy or anything. You know, Baron just sort of pulled out some better execution.
Yeah, I mean, really, I wouldn't say the only difference was Sarabash, because it wasn't. Baron had very good play otherwise, but one of the big differences in terms of whether you would say, you know, how Clean's run was Sarabash. He just had a lot of problems with that. He does set up for a grenade jump, but just kind of slips off the wall a little bit. So we'll get back on there, make sure that he doesn't have a bad position, and then just needs to go for that. He also had a 100% success rate, but doesn't pull it off first try here. But there it is. First try, Clean, just for you.
First try, nice. Well done by Cleanfel. Just like Baron will be getting confirmation on his final time before too long. So yeah, GG to Baron. As you said, this will unfortunately mean that Cleanfel is eliminated from the tournament, because even though we're all here primarily to have fun and share bad memes with each other, at some point people need to be eliminated so that we can crown the true champion at the end of this whole
when you say it like that, that sounds super, like, just, that sounds really sinister, Grim. People need to be eliminated.
Yes, so Clean is going to be out, and Baron will be advancing. We'll run over the brackets and whatnot soon as well. Before that, I'm going to mute myself for a moment. I want to see if we can get these guys in for an interview if we're ready to do that.
Sounds good. And the final time for Cleanfel coming in at 39.52, an improvement over his previous best race time, about 7 seconds. So great job by him. And really, as his tournament run comes to an end, you know, really just gonna congratulate Clean on not only his performance on the tournament, but his improvement as a player over the course of the tournament. He has literally only been running this game for a month and a half. So to have come as far as he has, as quickly as he has, is really impressive. Just major hat tip to him. And of course, on the other side, Cerebeon able to come out away with the victory here today. So his tournament life will continue for at least one more match, and we'll see what he's able to continue and do.
That's right. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull both of our runners in for an interview.
That's true.
All right. Hey, guys. What's up?
Yo. What up?
How we doing?
Yo.
We are fine. How are both of you?
I suffered, I persevered.
Yeah.
That did happen a little bit on both sides. Well, welcome in, Baron. GG to you. Congratulations on the victory. Cleanfel, of course, congratulations on just your overall tournament performance and your path to get here. But I want to start with one kind of little known thing that I guess we forgot to mention, because I forgot to look at the bracket before this. But as we look at the bracket here, we see that the winner of this race actually gets a bye because of one of our racers having dropped out from the tournament. And so the winner of this race, Baron, you will actually move on to the round of 32. You will face the victor of Chicken Supreme, and between him and the winner of Zachner and Sikinar. Does that put any more pressure on you having won this race? Do you feel like, oh my gosh, you know, like, man, I needed to win, and now like it's really pressure, or not so much?
Well, it sort of puts me further towards my goal. Like, I would have loved to race the one who dropped out, but at the same time, you know, a win, if it just lets me go by, because I want to make it to the end of the losers bracket, so to speak, before I drop out. That's my goal.
That's a solid goal. I like it. Clean, I want to ask you a quick question. By your own admission, you haven't had a lot of time to practice this game over the past few days due to, I think you said, a school trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of a basic question, but how do you feel that impacted you today? Did you feel rusty playing?
Actually, I didn't. It was weird. It was weird because I practiced actually the late game today more than the early game, and I did worse in the late game this match. So, you know, it's, you know, Ori being Ori, of course, as always.
I know that Sarabash was a trick that you had specifically called out as, like, this is the hardest trick in the run for me, and it's my least favorite. Tell us about your evolution with Sarabash, because obviously when you start playing the game initially, it's an incredibly hard trick, and at some point you learned it enough to where you thought, okay, I can do runs now. But how has that gone for you over the course of your month-and-a-half Ori career?
Definitely been a weird one, because I have a love-hate relationship. I've had phases where, you know, weeks I'll get it off first try every time, and then I go into a phase where I don't even get it after 10 tries, and then I'm kind of in the middle phase where sometimes we'll get it, sometimes I won't. This time I didn't really get as much, but overall still proud. I always just have problems with that, with the direction of the bird. I need to send it. It always is weird, but it went all right this time.
Well, Baron, I'll direct the next question to you. Given that you were both watching each other on the restream, Baron, do you feel that you changed your play at all, given that you knew you were in the lead?
Yeah, at the very end, I would have tried to waste all my energy. Other than that, I did put a couple safety saves in, just for my own precaution. I didn't want to die in Misty and lose a bunch of that progress I'd made.
Whoops.
Like, especially the one right after I got in and rocket jumped. That actually put me down to 0 energy. So safety over moving fast for just a couple seconds there.
Yeah.
Well, I will. I'll go back actually further from that then, because earlier in the race it was much closer, right up until swamp entry, basically.
Oh yeah.
You know, how did you react to that at that point when it was literally just seconds apart a whole bunch of times? And also, of course, you had that OBS crash that kind of interrupted you. You know, did you get tenser as a result of knowing Clean's progress, or did it maybe help you kind of be like, I can actually, this is okay, this is an amount of deficit I can overcome?
It was pretty frustrating when I lost my stream, and I was pretty agitated about that until about Grotto Skip. At that point, I realized, you know, I'd made up the ground, and I wasn't going to be suffering as badly as I thought. Still fidgety on some of my inputs, though, definitely.
Clean, I'll actually throw the same question to you, basically, because again, that early game was incredibly close. How did you react to that, to seeing that while that was going on?
Oh yeah, it was Cerebeon and I, just were practicing throughout the day, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, my OBS has been perfect all day," and then 5 minutes into this race, it just like, nope. So I was like, "Oh, classic OBS." But I definitely felt pressure. It was weird because I don't know, I didn't know how close we are up to Grotto Skip, because then I flubbed that a bunch. But after that, I kind of died down the stress. It's weird. Like I got more stressful being way ahead than I did being close ahead. It was just kind of a much more chill race for me than my previous ones I had with Cerebeon. That previous one was, well, that was a mess overall. This was a lot cleaner. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, we pretty much did that the entire race.
It's okay. But overall, I have loved this game, my first speedrun and game, and this was a great community. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, with that actually, I'll ask one more question to you, Clean, before we close out. Given that you are out of the tournament now, do you plan to continue running Ori? And if so, do you have any like concrete plans for a time you want to get or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. I'll keep running Ori, and we got so many categories. I want to say I want to get maybe a 34 time before I start to move on to other things. Maybe I'll play rando or all that stuff, and I'll still be commentating any matches I can for the rest of the tournament, because it's definitely really fun, and I'll definitely be around.
Awesome. We'll be happy to have you, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah, GG again to both of you, and GG to Baron on the victory. I guess, early good luck on whoever your next match happens to be. We'll find out.
Good luck against Bai. Bai is a very challenging opponent, but I believe in your ability to...
I mean, Bai is 3 letters, Tass is 3 letters. Maybe it's a sign.
Ooh, Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, well, that'll do it for us today. We are done with Ori for the day, although we have another Ori match coming tomorrow. It's going to be Skullblocker versus Acrid Stingray. That's at 1 p.m. EDT tomorrow. I don't know which Speed Gaming channel it's on, but we'll have that match for you tomorrow. And then we have something else coming up on Speed Gaming 2 as well, Vula.
Yeah, we've got some Final Fantasy 1. Not sure if it was... it's the PSP version. I guess it's probably the normal category, the any percent with glitches. So that should be good times to watch. Pretty interesting run of a game that it'll be a little bit faster than you might expect from Final Fantasy 1. But for now, for the Ori tournament, that's going to do it for us tonight. Grim, as always, pleasure joining you twice in one day.
Same, dude. That was fun.
And that's going to do it for us. Thanks again to our restreamers today and our truck folks and everyone helping behind the scenes and Speed Gaming. We should remember to thank Speed Gaming more often for providing this awesome network of channels that we are able to bring you this tournament on. And I look forward to having more of our action on here. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Damage as they head through. So, ooh, nice job. And wow, Yoko. Oh,
no. Oh, no, Yoko. Oh, my goodness. Please be careful.
He hasn't taken any, really bad deaths as result, but...
Oh, no.
Why did I say that? Why did I say that?
Yeah, true shade. So we're going to see what D2 decides to do. Nice safety save there. And wow, the value from the safety save.
The trick itself requires precisely positioning a frog and managing your XP, but because that can happen, because that froggy has a chair and it can stomp it right on your tiny little head.
Oh god, Milton, get out of there!
Holy crap, the recovery from that.
It's deceptive. Ooh, deceptively difficult. Rufus.
Holy
so close.
crap, Rufus.
Oh.
Oh god.
Exit.
And what is happening now?
I don't know.
Oh, Monkey's shot going through.
Oh, he's missed the double bash though. He's gotta go back up. Monkey's shots are facing the floor. I hope he does not hit that on the upper one. Jesus, broken into swamp.
Oh, Monkey getting hit by the shot.
Subtle that Terra did. Oh, missing that, but he's got the backup. That's okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. Okay, try again. Just this time you can get to the platform.
What you've seen from runners like Lucidus, Uncle Ronnie, and Eviona so far in the tournament, and oh wow.
Damn.
I do not know how he survived.
Both runners getting that 5th.
Oh, Randomson had a really... Wow, what a nice backup, though. Randomson had trouble with the first spider shot, but now it's basically tied.
Go stomp the rocks. And oh.
Fluffy,
I
what
didn't know you could do that.
Oh,
You really just keep
goodness.
moving and skip that cutscene?
Oh god, Hori's in the air! Hello!
Oh no. Oh, Frankie. Frankie, please go away. Oh, that is so
no.
painful.
Oh, this is a party. Luckily, he does have a sickness.
Yeah, oh, mini boss not quite going according to plan. Melvin's gonna go with the stomp spam. Keep that frog away. Get out of here. Don't hit me with your chair. He says he gets through it okay, and we'll be just finishing up Misty.
The section is really difficult with the 5 health. Alright, he gets the bash off of the fish. So yeah, he gets through, but upcoming here is
He's spawned Crow!
Oh, he takes it dead! Richard is in the lead. No, they're tied. Richard just died as well.
What?
This is literally synced in the final escape, guys. Unbelievable.
They both stopped the thing together. Okay.
Each one of those grenades costs 1. He's got 1 left. That's enough for 2 grenade jump attempts. If he keeps missing in that particular way, he's got 1 chance left.
One more.
And he gets it! The
First
clutch.
try, and well, not first try, but you know what? First try.
We'll call it first try.